Hello, Penny. It's so nice to have you with us today.
Hi, Guy. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
You'll hear in a minute about the Penny Wong's incredible career, and I encourage everybody to listen to the full video because there's so many parts to it. Quite outstanding in many ways. We have, we certainly have a little bit of an activist role as a channel to promote or help or promote the topic of women in cybersecurity or women in cyber, even though that would not summarize anything or in a only limited way what Penny has done. I'm so grateful that you could find the time to share your insights and your wisdom gained in this video. So I'd like to pass on, obviously, directly the mic to you, and thanks again.
Yeah, no, thanks, Guy. Thanks for having me here, and I'm super excited. Hopefully, I'm able to contribute somehow and impart some wisdom of knowledge of wisdom in one way or another. Learn from my mistakes, I guess, and get more women into this space because we need it.
Absolutely. So maybe you start from the beginning.
Start from the beginning. Wow, do you really want to go to the beginning?
No, not the very beginning. Let's say the beginning of your career. Where did you start? What did you study?
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
Yeah. So just very short context. My dad put me in front of Star Trek since I was 3. So my mind is always filled with all the new emerging technologies and robotics and so forth. So that kind of set the foundation of the areas that I was interested in. Amongst growing up with 2 brothers as well, naturally I was interested in mechanics, in electronics. It started from a very young age, and I guess yeah. My first experience, I guess, with cybersecurity is, well, I bought a phone when I was in school, and back then they were wanting to charge for warranty, and I thought, no, I paid for this phone. I should be able to fix it myself. And the rest is history. When you learn how to fix your own technology and computers, and you download viruses and start cleaning it, so that kind of set the foundations of, I can do this. I can really, really do this. I started off, I guess, as a business analyst, focusing on being a solution architect, designing systems that are, I guess, in the high availability, mission critical type systems in payments, telecommunications, and so forth. So that kind of, I guess, exposed me to the corporate world, enterprise and government. I could say now that I have, throughout my career, rescued and salvaged over 50 failing digital projects across enterprise and government. So I've learned quite a bit.
Wow, that's impressive. That number is very big.
Yeah. And I could honestly say, as much as I love technology, and if you present the problem, we can come up with many solutions, the real challenge is actually people. And I learned that the hard way. Again, I'm no HR manager. I've just had to learn those skills on the job, because a lot of projects that failed weren't generally related to technology not working. It was how the humans implemented, misinterpreted, or didn't define their requirements very clearly, as well as competing agendas in different departments. So I learned very quickly on the people side of the technology.
Yeah, it's the people who make it and don't break it. Yeah, as they say.
People, yeah. But in the security space, they say, people are your weakest link, but they can also be your strongest defense. So I'm true to that. You can spend $2 million on tools and kit. It's not going to save you in terms of a breach. Your people, being your first line of defense, are really there to call on. If you prepare them well, then you are able to mitigate the risks as much as possible.
So you mentioned payment industry. Was that e-commerce type? Was that in banking, bank-to-bank payments, or what kind
Yeah,
of?
I guess we were acting as a payment processor. In the biggest project that I worked on was designing resilient systems towards prepaid payments in telecommunication space, as well as card not presence in terms of the taking credit card transactions online at a time where I guess e-commerce is really starting to take off. People were purchasing over IVR and also online, but there was a huge amount of risk. I was working for the second largest carrier, telecommunications carrier and the first largest, experienced an insane amount of fraud. What my team and I did successfully was be able to reduce the fraud level to 0.0003, so less than 0.5%. And we were processing Visa, MasterCard, Amex, the like, and doing a complex integration, three-way integration with PayPal. But it was really interesting because from my experience, I'm still a payments consultant, and because it's kind of, where I also started from. It has to do with mitigating the risk, ensuring that you're not spending too much to mitigate those risks, and balancing that with customer experience. So if you don't have a balance between those three, then you're not going to have a very profitable service. So that was quite interesting and insightful. Yeah, we were doing 53 million transactions. It was like gaming for me. It was next level gaming. Yeah. It was fun. Like, I treated it as a game, and it was just like, between the bad actors trying to defraud my clients, and then how can we put those checks and balances in place and leverage elements of AI and human call center as well.
It's fascinating because in these days in cybersecurity we talk about espionage, we talk about ransomware, and a couple of other things, breaches here and there, but clearly, from the beginning there has been a very vertical, payment systems, and finding ways to skim credit cards from websites or fake ATMs, and there's an incredible, I should say, creativity or criminal creativity deployed in that industry. So that's why it must have been also quite fascinating from the defensive side to defeat all those creative schemes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need to understand the offensive side. So I was constantly researching, I guess, going through the forums, understanding where the fraudsters were potentially targeting, compromising, kit and equipment that's being sold, in cyberspace, I would say, what they're utilizing, and you got to be on top of it. I guess in that space, your adverse, what do you call it, your counterpart, are more innovative, and they have no rules. We in the enterprise space are governed by rules and regulation and doing the right thing. But on the flip side, there's no rules. That's what you're playing against, and you need to understand, I guess, the psychology. Well, first of all, you try to understand why, and that's I guess, a story for another time. But also how you can counter that. Yeah.
So after this, what came next? I know that there is quite a long story still afterwards. So what was the
Oh,
next challenge?
yeah. Yeah. So on the payment space, I had Visa, MasterCard, and the offshoot of the RBA as my clients, ABCA, Payments Card Association. I'd worked with some of the banks as well. Although I never directly worked inside a bank, I was happy to have them as clients. Worked with the largest retailer in Australia to review the payments infrastructure. So I essentially was spearheading a payment gateway, designing the systems, looking at it from the commercial aspect, running ops, and so forth. It was hands-on. But that, I guess, was also off the back of me helping design and commercialize security products. So I've always had that privacy security first approach to any project I touched from day one. And I never knew it was valuable until it was in demand. Yeah, the skills.
After the payment of the financial area, you dived also in other areas. I mean, I know that blockchain, AI, and other things were coming afterwards. So maybe you can share a bit about
You want to
that.
go down this rabbit hole? Yeah. So I guess in 2009, as everyone knows, that little Bitcoin white paper came up. And at the time, I was running that payments business. My focus was around security, obviously. I had a passion for cryptography, and being in the payment space, it was a natural, I guess, curiosity that led me down that path of the first truly public payments infrastructure. And at the time, it was more of this libertarian dream about, well, how can we make the world a better place? Yeah. To reach the unbanked and underbanked. So I know in the world,
Decentralized money.
yeah. So some people say programmable money, but back then it was about remittances. That the first use case is about, hang on, they're charging between 10, 12% to 18% just for people to send money around the world. And we're talking about the people who are workers, either expats from Asia to another country, or in Saudi. And that's a lot. Like if you're sending, a small package of like, $100 or $1,000, getting charged 10 to 18% in some cases was just robbery. It's robbery because the cost of payment has already come down. Yeah. So that was I guess the reason that attracted me to these new types of technologies, blockchain enabled technology, security cryptography was really exciting for me, yeah, at the time. And I guess the rest is history as we move towards Web3, and decentralized finance, decentralized science. I look at it from a privacy security perspective. On We are actually in the middle of a broken internet, like in Web 1, Web 2. We just, I guess, grew so fast globally to try and get online and do things online. I believe, I'd like to believe still that the technologies that are being built in Web3 space using blockchain as an underlying technology will help build a more secure Web3 infrastructure. So I'm still hopeful for that.
Super. And I know that there is also an AI chapter, which is
There's an
also
AI.
fascinating. And there's a lot to be said about that. And maybe you can give us some insights on that too.
Yeah. So on the AI, I guess I'm this crazy Asian girl that's gone in 100 Uber rides talking about AI, blockchain, and how society will change. Now everyone's talking about AI with the I guess launch of ChatGPT, which I'm super excited that now people are more aware of what's possible. They're starting to become aware of not what's not possible, but they will be aware on the security and privacy aspects very, very soon. Uh, and that's where I come in, I guess. I cheekily say I'm a CISO preparing for the AI singularity. So what's going to break will break, and hopefully I'll be there to be able to help. But we are seeing things, obviously, fraudsters, phishing in perfect grammar. Grammar's getting better, which is really then hard to decipher a phishing email. And using the likes of ChatGPT, Bard, LLMs to on the offensive side. That's not nice, but they are more efficient now as well. So that's what we're challenged now globally on this threat.
Yeah, that's all still to be discovered. I mean, I think the offensive side using AI, the defensive side using AI, and even more so, even normally as security people, we try to protect whatever the company considers valuable. But if the company itself uses AI for its business processes, it will actually generate more value on their side. That means we have to protect something more valuable than when we had initially. So it affects us in so many ways. And I think there is a lot of, even on the security side, a few, ethical challenges coming along. If you process too much data, now you can process data in a certain way. You can zoom into certain situations. You may even, even the domain of physical security has been very separated from security for a while because they had their own cameras, had their own whatever systems. But now the cameras have become IoT devices, and AI treats them, can do all kinds of recognition. Suddenly we have lots more data, but also a lot more personal data. Suddenly, when I think we have to find a good way to process that. So that's fascinating in every possible area.
The spanner in the works, deep fakes.
Yeah, absolutely. So social engineering is becoming now a possibility. You can imitate your boss and say, like, I want this overview of this data. Please send it to me on this address. It's I mean, almost you come to the point, how it's about identity at the end. Yeah, obviously, how can you identify someone? Is he who is saying? Super.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's why I was looking at health. I love the healthcare space, and I'm taking all my knowledge and skills to hopefully be able to assist that space. But this little, I'm not sure if you can see, I love this little Finnish creation called the Oura Ring. It measures my heart rate variability, temperature, it's a ring, and it's a ring that measures my heart rate variability, my temperature, monitors my sleep. Apart from the healthcare value, imagine the security side of things as a point of real-time authentication. If I were, a customer wanted to move funds under management, or if you need to verify an individual, to get their biosignature, whether it's in ear or their heart signature, which is 80/20, as well as the vein print as well. I know another project that's doing the vein print. I might get involved in that. It's quite fascinating. But retina scanning and fingerprint seems a little bit intrusive.
Well, that may be a nicer way to do it. Yeah, I think a lot of creativity is required at that side to make it more, same as you mentioned for the payment industry, to make it more user friendly, not to overkill someone. Okay.
Yeah, I love endpoint security. That was my focus area as well when I was designing security products.
Okay. Well, that's another fascinating area, and
Yeah,
especially so many players in that industry these days. I
there's a
think
lot
we
of
go in all kinds of directions. I remember at the beginning of security, you have a choice: do you want A or B or C? Okay, that's it. Now there are so many players, and I think I don't know, it's probably a good thing that we have more creative talent trying to crack the security problem. It doesn't make it easy for a company to choose, but at least there's something to choose from, and hopefully enough creativity is deployed to actually make progress.
I believe that with any tool, it's possible to leverage that to secure environments. So one tool over another tool, eventually they all do the same thing now, which is branding. But if you're skilled enough, you can use any tool or combinations of tools to layer the as part of the strategy.
I normally ask everybody at the end of these interviews, what do they recommend? But I will ask you an extra question. Do you have any free time doing all these things? Do you have any free time left on your side?
Oh, I've literally gone down the rabbit hole for many, many years. I love what I do. And to be honest, I first of all, I hate shopping. I hate supermarkets. I hate shopping centers.
Okay,
But
well,
for me,
that
that's a
that
waste of
takes care of
time.
that.
Yeah, that takes care of that, right? So this is
Super.
my time now. I don't really drink. I mean, New Year's and maybe weddings and things like that, but I don't spend my time at pubs drinking. A lot of my time is researching, learning new things. That makes me happy. Yeah. So I would say 10 to 20 hours a week just on learning, yeah, new things.
I hope that then that gives us a perfect point to talk about. What's your recommendation to your peers, recommendation to people, younger people who are thinking about entering these industry areas, or who are at the beginning of their career. So maybe the first ones. What recommendation would you give to your peers?
To my peers, I know in the industry people burn out easily. So you need to look after yourself and your health first, because if you put the mask on yourself, then you can help other people. So you're no good, burnt out. That's what I've learned, number one. And it's very easy to burn out because you're researching, you're doing things, day becomes night, night becomes day, and it's sunrise, and then you burn out. That happens a lot. I guess, yeah, a lot of people exit the industry as a result, but it doesn't have to be that way. It's okay to say no and pass it to a colleague as well, just to make sure you've got to look after yourself health wise, to be at optimal best and performing your optimal best. To the people entering, you need to have a curious mind, open mind, curious. You need to want to learn, and failing is okay. It's just how fast you can recover. You're constantly learning. Nothing. It's not like, I guess, law or engineering, like not the traditional disciplines where you learn. You go to school for 5 years. You're learning every day here. Like, I read things, and the likes of Bard and ChatGPT serve content to me faster, and it cuts 70% of my research time, which is good. But the real skill here, the real skill here is your ability to utilize these AI tools to your advantage, but be able to decipher what's truth and what's false. Like I say, I'm not I'm not better than anyone. I'm not better than anyone out there. I'm just better at Google. And that's how I got through my career.
Okay, super. I think what I take from what you say is, and it's generalize a bit. I think you have to be curious in many areas. Not, I mean, you can verticalize it, but I think there's value to be gained by looking at many areas around you, and and gaining insights from those, and sometimes converging them in a good way.
Well, yeah, when you're
Super.
looking at, an organization's like threat landscape, every organization is different. So you need to have that investigative mindset to go, hang on, how does this supply chain link up? Well, hang on, there's a risk there because they're doing other things behind the scene as well. They could be the point of anyway, your investigative skills and just to think a little bit out, or not a bit, a lot outside the square, is really important. Yeah, and connect with the community as well, because you're also strong in numbers to be able to combat a lot of these risks and threats.
Okay, super. We could go on for a while on this discussion, but I would like to thank you really for having shared a bit of an insight of your life and what you gained from it, or what wisdom or what vision you developed from there. So I would like to thank you very much for having shared that with me and with our audience. And I'm looking forward to going into more detail into some of the things you mentioned in any future video. So also thank you for that.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Guy, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.